Hi guys, welcome to House of Cramel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hi, I'm Cramel. I'm a working mom of one and I'm also married, both of which my son and my husband's name are Charles. They're the second and the third. My son is 18 months old and he is the love of our lives. If this isn't your first time on my channel, welcome back and thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you. So let's get right into it. This video is about sleep training, and I want to tell my new moms and maybe even some of my old moms the truth about it. I've watched a lot of videos and read some things and talked to a lot of moms about this subject, and I've developed some thoughts of my own, and I just wanted to pull together a couple of points and tips that I thought may be helpful for a new mom to know, or anyone for that matter that wants to know anything about sleep training. So there are a couple of things I want to get straight about my truths about sleep training, and it'll just kind of help you understand my point of view. First thing, I am pro sleep training. I recommend it to any mom, any parent, single, married, no matter what. I recommend that you sleep training. It will definitely help your family. I don't think it is harmful in any way, and yeah, I think it is great for everyone in the house. I'm gonna leave that right there. Second thing, these tips are based solely on the fact that I am a mother that has experienced sleep training. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, I'm not certified in anything. I come to you in the official capacity of being a mother. That is all. So just giving you that disclaimer. Next thing, I personally don't like sleep training before 6 months. However, there are many medical and official documents that will tell you that it is safe to sleep train between 4 to 6 months. So if you are in fact ready before 6 months, obviously I wasn't, it is perfectly safe to do so. I just highly recommend that you talk it over with your pediatrician first. And the last thing, as far as stating my point of view on sleep training, is sleep training can be accomplished at any age. I do feel like it will be a little bit harder the older the child is, but I still feel like sleep training can be accomplished at any age. So even if your child is a toddler, like 1 year old, even 2, there are mothers that get in positions where they do have to sleep train at later ages. It is still possible. It may be a little bit more challenging, but it is possible. So you decide. That being said, let's get into the tips. Okay, number 1, my first tip on sleep training, and my husband he says this actually about not just sleep training, but about life in general. Start how you want to finish. This is important because I can actually speak from both sides of the fence on as far as things that I probably would have done differently had I known how it was going to turn out up till now. But just start how you want to finish. If you don't want your baby to have to use a pacifier to fall asleep from now until whenever, don't start with it when you start sleep training, or at least find a way to start to phase it out early. If you don't want your child to have to be rocked to sleep for the foreseeable future, don't start with it, or like I said, find a way to start phasing it out in the early stages of sleep training. These things, and those aren't the only 2 things, but those are just the 2 examples I'm going to use because those are things that I do and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But those are things that will stick with your training if you sleep train your child in that way. I personally do use a pacifier. My son is 18 months, but he usually only uses his pacifier to go to sleep. We don't give it to him during the day. No judgment if you do though. That is just the way we do it in my house. And as far as rocking him to sleep, I really enjoyed rocking him to sleep when he was younger, and it was something that I never really was able to give up. It made me feel good, it made him feel good. But now he's 18 months and getting a little bigger, and it's getting a little tougher to get him to go to sleep while rocking him. It happens still, but I will say it would probably be easier at this point or at his age if I were just able to throw him in the bed and walk out of the room. I still do enjoy rocking him to sleep though. So anyway, so that's what I mean by start how you want to finish. Think about how you envision putting your child, and if you see me looking down, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes, so because I don't want to get mixed up. But start how you want to finish. If there are some things that you don't want to be happening, just keep those things in mind when you start sleep training. Okay, my next tip. Sleep training can be hard. I don't feel like this is said enough. Yes, some people say this, and most people find out when they actually start the process, but sleep training can be emotionally taxing for you and the child. It's difficult to listen to your baby cry, depending on the method that you use. But I think they cry, all of them. They're going to cry. Your baby is going to cry. They are going to cry in sleep training. You have to think about the fact that crying is one of your baby's, it's their mode of communication. They cry when they want something. So naturally, they're going to cry when they don't, when they really, really don't like something or understand something. Some mom and dads alike are just not prepared for the emotional part of sleep training, especially night 1 and night 2. Your baby may cry a lot, and it will be hard for you. But you want to keep the end in mind. Yes, sleep training can be challenging. It can be hard. But keep the end in mind. You are doing what's best for your child. You are doing what's best for the entire family. And you are teaching them a life skill. And it's only temporary, the sucky part. Next, research the method in which you will use to sleep train your child. So there are multiple methods. I won't say there's hundreds. Well, I didn't read about 100. The first methods that are the most popular, rather, that you might run across are Cry It Out, also dubbed CIO, or the Ferber method, which is a version of Cry It Out, whether people want to admit it or not. There's the pick up, put down method. There are multiple ways to sleep train your child. Some ways are more gentle, I'll use that word, than others, in that it allows you to allow your baby to cry less. But it's only, I don't know another word to use. It's only, that's why it's more gentle. But I will say those methods tend to take longer. Cry It Out or Ferber method tend to yield results within the first 3 days. And within a week or 2, your child could be sleep trained. So just keep that in mind also. But fully research your method. When you do pick one, make sure you read all the directions. You want to make sure you're executing correctly so that you have the highest chance of success. Point blank. Me and my husband chose to do the Ferber method. I didn't necessarily want to do Cry It Out all the way. I still wanted him to understand that we were there and we didn't abandon him. So Ferber method worked for us. The way the Ferber method works is on night 1, you put the baby down to sleep. They may cry. You allow them to cry for a short amount of time. Then you go back into the room, pat their back, soothe them, let them know that you're there to support them, and then you leave the room again. You allow them to cry for a larger interval of time, and this just keeps going all night until there is a threshold. And then on night 2, the intervals get even larger. So read up more. This isn't a video on the Ferber method, but if you guys would like for me to do one, I can certainly do that. But that's just a short description of the way we did it. By night 3, my son was doing minimal crying and he was sleeping. It was mind-blowing and I felt so happy. So the tears that I cried too, the tears that I cried were in vain. My next tip is that there are sleep aids that you can use that won't cripple your baby or cause long-term whatevers. It really depends on what's good for your family. I did mention using a pacifier earlier in the video. Although I know some parents don't want that. I don't mind. I actually use a Wubba Nub. I actually love these little things, and so does my son. So like I said, my son doesn't walk around all day with the pacifier, even though sometimes he might sneak and get it if I just I'm caught off guard. But I try to keep it in his room. When we leave the room, I try to keep it in the bed. But sometimes, I don't know, things happen. But for the most part, he does not use it throughout the day. But it has a little animal attached. This one is a lamb. He also has a fox. One's called Mr. Lamb, one is called Mr. Fox. And then there's a Soothie attached to the top of it. And I actually like this one because my son uses this. He strokes the legs and the ears and things when he's falling asleep. And I think having that texture, it soothes him. So he likes to touch that, and then eventually he falls asleep. Same effect I noticed that he has the same effect with a blanket sometimes. So I mean, if you're not afraid of pacifiers and you don't mind your child using one, these are good pacifiers to use as a sleep aid if you don't mind it. If you don't want your kid to use a pacifier long term, or you don't want them to use it at all, don't start with it. But they can suck their fingers. So I mean, you're not completely out the woods all the time. They can develop that habit. I chose the pacifier, and I will eventually wean him completely off of it. That day isn't today. The other thing I recommend are swaddles or sleep sacks. My son doesn't sleep in a sleep sack anymore. He's very large. But he did sleep in it for a long time. I started out with swaddles, that the kind that you have a Velcro in it. I'll stick a picture here so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm sure I have one. I was a little bit uncomfortable using blankets or muslin blankets because I actually love those during the day. But I was nervous about swaddling him in those at night because he could burst out of them, and I wasn't comfortable with the amount of fabric that could end up in his face or anywhere without me being there to monitor him. So sleep sacks and swaddles with Velcro or zippers I recommend because I feel like they're safer. This is just a sleep sack. These are for older children when they're transitioning from swaddles. Halo makes these. It's a really big one. I still have it though. But you just zip them up in there. The versions for younger children have little extensions on them with Velcro, and you can just wrap their arms around them. So I'll try to put a picture of that up too. So using swaddles helps your baby feel safe and secure, and also gives that womb-like environment so they're more apt to stay asleep once they fall asleep and not feel so uncomfortable or upset. The other sleep aid I feel like is life-changing: sound machines. I will link the one I have below. I love our sound machine because it doesn't turn off, but it has the ability to be on a timer. So you want to look for that in a sound machine. Also, you want it to be kind of loud. I know that sounds counterproductive for a sound machine, but the idea is for it to drown out all the other potential noises that are outside of the room. So, rule of thumb that my cousin taught me was you want the sound machine to be loud enough to hear if you're standing outside of the door. And our sound machine definitely accomplishes that, and it's been great for us since we started sleep training. You guys, I was just sitting here and I was taking my little setup down, and I realized there were two other things that I forgot to tell you. So I'm going to insert this into the video probably in the middle before it actually ends. So excuse this. My battery started dying, so I got a little bit frazzled. But one important thing that I wanted to make sure I made mention of is whatever method you use in sleep training, make sure you give it a fair shot. By that, I mean, give it a full week, or 2 weeks is really recommended to give your sleep training method you choose a real shot. You don't want to give up. I know it might be difficult, but you want to make sure that your tears and your baby's tears aren't in vain, and you want to give them the chance to learn and the chance to develop in the way that will help all of you guys. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. And also I talked about depending on what point this footage gets put in a video, I don't know if I will have already talked about sleep aids, but one thing you don't want to do is put a bunch of crap in the crib. So if it's not a swaddle, a safe swaddle, and if it's not a pacifier or a pacifier friend, whatever brand you choose to use, it doesn't need to be in the crib. SIDS is real and it does not need any help coming into your home. So make sure you only have a fitted crib sheet over your mattress, over a firm baby mattress, one that meets whatever country you live in standards for babies, and nothing else. No blankets, no pillows, no little cute stuff. None of that should be in the crib when you are, sorry if this camera is moving, guys, I'm really sorry, but none of this should be in the crib when a baby is sleeping. It can be unsafe. It can cause, it's a suffocation hazard, choking hazard. It's just a hazard. I won't go into all the details here, but I wanted to make sure that I said that. Okay, back to the original part of the video. And this is my last point actually. You have to remember that babies are human beings. You didn't give birth to a little robot. So even the best sleep trained baby is going to have a bad night or two. And there are things that will disrupt your baby's sleep. And it's not because you didn't do it right. It's just because it's natural. There are teething, growth spurts. Oh my goodness, growth spurts are huge. Babies get sick. There are all types of things that can happen that can potentially disrupt your baby's sleep. But the great thing is that when you do sleep train, you always have something to come back to. And it is taught to your child. So when things normalize, and those things are temporary, please understand that. Sometimes they last a little bit longer than we would like, but they are temporary. Things will get back to normal if there really is a normal with a toddler or a baby. But things will get back to the way they used to, and you will get sleep and your baby will get sleep. So if you need more information about sleep training, please don't hesitate to reach out to your baby's pediatrician, or even there are licensed sleep trained people, whatever you call them, out there. You guys, I was just too close to the finish line to stop now. So I apologize if this looks a little weird, but I just picked up my phone so I could do this last piece of the video. But like I was saying, don't be afraid to reach out to your pediatrician to get some resources or get some tips on sleep training. There are certified sleep training specialists out there, so look them up. I'm personally also a part of a sleep training group when I wanted tips from other mothers. Or people that were going through the same thing that I was going through at the time I was going through it. Facebook groups are a great way to connect in that way, and there are sleep training groups out there. So look out for resources, ask for help if you're having trouble, and just do everything you can to prepare for this experience. I really hope this video helped someone. These tips definitely helped me along the way, and I will see you guys later. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do have fun over here at House of Cramel. I do vlogs. I talk about marriage. My husband comes in here. You get to see my son. We would love to have you. So make sure you come back to House of Cramel. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye. All right, guys, bonus footage. So I talked to you guys about let's see, okay, this is better. I talked to you guys about sleep training and my truths about it, or what I feel like are truths. But one important thing I forgot to mention, one thing you want to put in place or start to form before you start sleep training is a good bedtime routine. Teaching your child a good bedtime routine gives them something to expect. A lot of times babies and toddlers don't, you see my son back there, they don't like surprises. And developing a bedtime routine and giving them something to stick to makes things predictable, so they're more likely to follow through with a lot of things that you put in this routine. And the more you do it, the better it gets. So I'm going to give you a glimpse into what our bedtime routine looks like. Come on, let's go night-night. It's over there.